about $125 for 2 people one way. We stayed at a Hilton for that one night. That was a $220 Hilton. And then we came home on Delta from Kansas City back to LA, and that would have been $310 for both people. So literally, it should have cost $655 just to travel and stay at the hotel, not including food, concert, whatever else we needed to do. But why we could make this happen in the middle of a random week was that you can see on Southwest, instead of spending $125, they had flights available for 5,000 miles. So we used 5,000 of our points. And you can see for 2 people, and you see a little thing, Rick flies for free. We will explain that a little bit later. We have a little deal we had with Southwest. At Hilton, we used 40,000 points for that one night, $220 savings. And then coming home for Delta, we used 25,000 of our miles for 2 people to fly home. So coming together, you see we really didn't spend any money. We just used our miles. And then we had to spend $22.40 just because you always have to pay for those taxes on any flight that you have. So a big difference, $655 compared to $22.40, just one of the very small stories of how we can make this so affordable. So yes, it is not free, but this trip was actually pretty cheap. So we're here to talk about what is a mile, what is a point. Airline companies offer miles. So, you can use those miles towards redeeming towards flights. There's other companies that offer points, and you can turn those points, like I said, into gift cards. You can turn those points into miles. You can kind of turn those points into a lot of different things. So we're here to kind of talk about, there's some things that offer miles, some that offer points, and kind of what you can do with each of those things here. So to make things clear, there's always a card for that. Something that we have learned in our past 4 years is that credit cards want you to sign up for their cards. They want you as a customer because they can charge you, or companies, anywhere between about 1.5 to 2.5% interest. So they earn a percentage of every purchase used with the card. So they're going to give you tons of incentives and entice you to sign up for them. So you can get airline miles. If you look through the list, I found a Disney credit card where you can get points towards Disney tickets. AT&T launched a card where if you sign up, you can get your new iPhone for free. I had one for a while where you can get cash back towards investing, so you can put it right into your investment or retirement account. So literally there is a card for anything that you need. We just do a little bit of research and we can easily figure that out in terms of what you're looking for.
So we're going to spend some time sharing a quick overview of cards that we like or cards that we have used and have seen the benefits of. There's going to be a lot of information on the slides, and I know as a teacher that that's not a good strategy. We're not going to read it all to you. We just want it to be there in case you'd like to jot some things down or make some notes. We just want to make sure that it's all there for you if you're wondering. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with some airline-specific credit cards.
So these are going to be some basic cards. There's more advanced, but like Emily said, we're kind of looking at the 101, maybe the 102 level here today. So United has their own credit card they offer. It's run through Chase, as you can see on the picture right here. And they offer, just like any other card, a sign-up bonus. So right now, you can see if you sign up for this card and you spend $1,000 in 3 months on this card, they will give you 30,000 miles towards a United flight. Now, just a side note, I would not recommend signing up for this right now because usually half the year they offer 50,000 miles as a sign-up bonus, and you really want to make sure you wait for those big sign-up bonuses because if you're going to apply for a card, then you want to make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. But, you can look in here. There's perks to the card in terms of, checked bags that are free. The annual fee is $95, but you can see the first year is completely free. So you can sign up for the card, spend $1,000, get the points, and then there you go. You have your miles towards whichever flight you want to do. And on the right side, we provided you with the booking rate. So if you see that it's 30,000 miles for a sign-up bonus, well, you know that 25,000 miles gets you a domestic round trip. So just this sign-up bonus, just for signing up for the card and spending $1,000, you can get a round trip anywhere in the continental United States. But if you wait for that 50,000 miles and you do the spending, you can see you're getting pretty close to that European round trip, which for me is more exciting. So you can get to Europe for 60,000 miles round trip, and you can basically just from Chase saying, thank you for signing up for our card, here's the miles. You put a little spending on there, and you're basically there at your round trip. So similarly, We change, all these airlines have partnerships with banks. So Citibank has their partnership with American. Same idea. They offer 30,000 miles for a sign-up bonus, spend $1,000. Again, I would not sign up right now. You want to wait for the 50. The 50 is going to get you your bang for the buck. It's basically the exact same card, except if you're interested in an American, then you'd want to sign up for this. If you're interested in United, then you'd want to sign up for the Chase card. You can see the mileage for domestic or Europe is almost the same. So there's a small bit of differences, but I'd say it's whatever you're most interested in, wherever you want to fly the most. I will point you out to the bottom of the right side here, and you can see there's off-peak pricing. American, which is really great sometimes, because people don't usually want to travel to Europe in the wintertime. As you saw in our pictures, we decided to brave that adventure, and we went to Russia in the middle of winter. Well, since most people don't fly, they also offer off-peak pricing during the less busy months. So a really cool advantage of American is that you can see 60,000 miles for a European round trip on the right-hand side. We actually flew for 40,000 miles. So that big old sign-up bonus actually got both of us a 2.5-week trip to Europe in the middle of winter for pretty much free. I mean, you had to pay the taxes, but we say pretty much free. A local, and this is kind of a domestic card to think about. Southwest is starting to fly internationally, but it's really a domestic continental carrier here. But you can see, same idea. You can get Southwest points, 40,000 miles after you spend $1,000. You already get free bags on Southwest anyway, so that's not a huge fee. But you look at the annual fee, it's $99. They do not waive that fee for the first year. But you can get your 40,000. Now, in terms of what you can get for those miles, Southwest has a very different system. For those of you who have flown it before, you understand that. The rates can be based on the distance. Obviously, longer distances are a little bit more, and time of year and time of day. We found that random flight from Kansas City, or from LA to Kansas City, and it was only 5,000 points because we flew and arrived in Kansas City at like 1 in the morning, and not many people want to do that flight, so they made it really cheap for us. So we don't mind it. We're young. We took it. Now, to start with the best travel deal ever. This is something that Emily and I figured out a couple years ago. And Southwest offers, mostly to its business customers who fly frequently, they offer something called the Southwest Companion Pass. And if you, as a customer, achieve 110,000 miles in 1 calendar year, you can fly with a companion for free. So 1 year, about maybe 3 years ago, we worked out through credit card sign-up bonuses where Emily was able to earn 110,000 miles in the year. And because she unlocked that, on the website you can see, on here it says earn your next companion pass. Well, we're not really close right now, but you can see my name at the very bottom, Richard Barclay, through 12/31/16. That is because any flight she books on Southwest, she can add me completely free wherever we go. Now, if you go back to the Southwest deal, you can see that they offered 40,000 miles after you spend that much money. Now, again, I would wait till 50. Well, Emily applied for a personal card for 50,000 points, and she got the sign-up bonus. And then she also applied for a business credit card, and she got 50,000 points on that sign-up bonus. So within those 2 cards, she earned 100,000 miles for basically just signing up for both cards. We put a little bit of spending, hit the 110,000, and now we fly buy one, get one free, which is, to me, the best deal in travel. Now that Southwest even flies to Costa Rica, they fly to the Caribbean, they fly to Mexico, and they are talking about opening up their flights to Hawaii very soon. So a great, amazing deal if you're ever interested in getting the companion pass. Well, those are just 3 basic ones. You've heard of all the flights, or maybe all the airline companies. There's a card for Delta, Lufthansa, a German company, Alaska Airlines, Frontier, British Airways, the Virgin America and Atlantics. There's cards for all the airlines. You get to choose what your favorite is, and you get the miles, and you can fly wherever you want. So moving on from there.
Just to humor our audience, and because I'm a Chicago native, I just want to give everyone a score update. We're at the bottom of the third inning, and the Indians are ahead of the Cubs 2-0. So we appreciate you watching while the World Series is going on. We're going to keep you informed about baseball and about mileage points.
Moving on. You can't mean that's great. You can travel for free. However, you can also stay in your hotels for free. All right, so you can kill both birds with one stone here. Same idea. You're going to sign up for these credit cards. Citibank partners with Hilton, and you can see the sign-up bonus here. If you spend $2,500 in 4 months, they will give you 2 free weekend nights at any Hilton hotel in the world. Any place, as long as it's a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night, you can stay at any Hilton hotel in the entire world, no matter how much it is, basically 2 free nights. The annual fee is $95, but if you're really thinking about it, you're spending $95 for 2 nights wherever you want. It is an incredible deal, and that's just to say thank you for signing up for the card. So Emily, I'm sure, would like to tell a little story of how we used this card.
I would, and it's just kind of the best deal that we've ever figured out. So Rick and I went to Thailand 2 years ago, 2 winter breaks ago, and managed to find a Hilton property. It's a Conrad hotel on the island of Koh Samui. And you can see in the pictures there, each room is its own individual building. It has its own private infinity pool, and to get from point A to point B on the property of the hotel, you have to be driven in a golf cart. Like, it's just that ritzy. It's never something that we would have spent money on, never something we would have ever imagined ourselves doing, but because we had these 2 free weekend night certificates, we were able to plan our trip around being in Koh Samui for the weekend and had these nights to use. And so we got to have a private snorkeling tour and all of these things as a part of this like very glamorous stay at this hotel that we would have never done otherwise. It was great.
To be clear, this hotel also would normally cost a consumer anywhere from $930 to about $1,000, maybe $1,100 a night. But Hilton makes the rules. You can use it wherever you want, so we made sure we could use those free nights at the most expensive place we could find. Well, same idea. This is a Chase card, and Chase has partnered with Hyatt, just like how Citi partnered with Hilton. And it's the same concept. 2 free nights at any Hyatt hotel in the world. You spend $2,000 in 3 months. There's some perks. You can see right there the annual fee is $75, but again, you're spending $75 to hold this card for a year, and they're going to give you 2 free nights anywhere you want. And once again, Emily would love to tell you a story of how we use this.
So we have made a little trip adventure about finding the all-inclusive Hyatt properties that are in the world. Because why not have 2 free nights that also include your food and your alcohol? So we went to Mexico. We visited Cabo San Lucas. We went to Puerto Vallarta and also Cancun, and properties in those cities, with our free night certificates. And so then everything is included, right? Your food, your beverage, all that kind of stuff. And with Southwest flying to Mexico now, it's even more affordable for us. So again, it's just kind of maxing out. It's getting more bang for your buck, right, with those free nights, finding the best place to utilize it.
So, how we've used this is that I've signed up for the Hyatt credit card, got 2 free nights. We used them in Mexico. Emily also later then signed up for her credit card of the Hyatt, so we had another 2 nights to use. So we've basically just maximized both of our accounts to make sure that we are achieving the most possible nights for our family. But we're only going to cover 2. Again, you guys can look into all these other things. If you're a really big Marriott fan, well, Marriott has a card for you. They actually just merged with SPG. That's in the works now, but they're still separate. IHG, Club Carlson, the Wyndham Rewards card, any one of those cards that you really enjoy, there is a card for you where you can earn points and free nights to stay where you want in the world. That leads us to our last big kind of credit card theme here, and that's travel reimbursement cards. And this one can be a little bit more of the confusing one, but can be really utilized to help your travel depending on what you need. So we feel like we have to cover it with you. So you've probably seen these commercials, Jennifer Garner or Alec Baldwin.
My homeboy.
Yeah, talking about, no blackout dates, criticizing every other airline because you get blacked out of using your miles, and The venture cards for you. They're inundated on the media and on TV, or I don't think I hear it on the radio, but they're all around. You see the pictures. We figured you could laugh and be like, oh yeah, I know what this is. I see this all the time. So the Capital One Venture Card. They make it sound so great. I mean, it is, but it's a little different. I want to make sure that's very clear. When you talk about hotels or airline credit cards, you know, you're earning those United miles to use on United flights. So 25,000 United points gets you a round trip in the country. Now, with Capital One Venture, these are not miles, these are now points. So you can see if you sign up for this card, you're going to earn 40,000 points after you spend $3,000. And every purchase you do, you get 2 points on every single purchase. So you have to spend that $3,000, so that's going to give you 2 points per dollar. So now you're looking at 46,000 points just for signing up and spending on this card. The annual fee is $59, but the first year is completely free. Now what we're going to do is that these points, you've earned 46,000, 40 from the sign up, 3 from the spending you had to do. You're going to be able to use those points to reimburse yourself for travel that you're going to pay for. And this is very different because the United miles get you that flight that you want on United. These points, you're going to actually have to purchase a flight or a hotel or a train ride on this Capital One Venture Card. And then however much that flight cost, you're going to then use those points to reimburse yourself the cash. And it's the same idea for the next card. There's another one that's the exact same idea, the Barclaycard, one of our personal favorites.
I really like calling them on the phone and saying, my last name is Barclay, like the bank. They laugh every time.
They truly enjoy that conversation every single time. But you can see a sign-up bonus, 50,000 points. You spend, $3,000 2 times on all purchases. So you're going to earn 6,000 points just from your, $3,000. So you're going to sit at 56,000 points. And the annual fee is $89, and the first year is for free. So you can see, just from this card, 56,000 points. And 56,000 points, just so you know, are worth $560. So if you earn all those points and you have a flight that's $500, well, you purchase the flight on this card, and then you have all of those points in your account to redeem and basically give yourself the cash back for that flight. So it's a very different kind of premise than the cards we talked about earlier. So on the next page, you can see, how do these cards impact your travel? Just like I was talking about, just to kind of, in good teaching strategy, you talk about it and also have words for everybody here so we can hit every modality. But the points, you can earn allow you to reimburse yourself. So any travel-related expense, if you need to take a train, if you need to take a limo, if you really need a limo for that day, if you want to purchase a cruise, stay in a timeshare, stay in a hotel, use a car rental, you can use all of these points to reimburse yourself the money you had to spend for it. So you can see this one example right here. One time we actually needed to rent a car in Greece, and it cost $250 for that car rental for the week. Well, that's a travel-related expense, so I purchased the car rental with that Barclay arrival card, and then the purchase went through. The card recognized it as a travel expense, and then I used 25,000 of my points to redeem it for that purchase, and then I saw a $250 credit show up into my credit card. So basically, it is free. So not only are we flying for free or staying in hotels for free, we can reimburse ourselves for some travel-related expenses for free. So the Airbnb one just below, it's the same idea. Points used towards reimbursing ourselves. I want to show you an example to help out. So right here, you can see on September 12th, literally just maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, I purchased 4 train tickets. And you can see it was from Clear Trip Travel Services. So you can see this is on the Citi Venture Card. It clarified it as other travel. So now other travel counts as a travel-related expense. So all those 4 purchases, these are trains in India, because we are actually going to India this Christmas break. And you can see below it the negative amount. You see credit travel reward. I used my points to redeem those travel-related expenses. So all of my train trips this Christmas break are actually covered for free because I used my Capital One Venture points. So it's a pretty great deal in order to just to make travel even more inexpensive for you. So if you look at the top, negative 2367, then actually I had to use 2,367 points to redeem myself for that train. And that's actually for both of us too. So there we go.
Even better.
Even better. Train travel for free. Now, it's okay to feel nervous. This is kind of the section where people kind of feel overwhelmed. They're like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my credit score? Yes, when you apply for a credit card, your credit score will take an initial hit. Maybe it's 2 or 3 points. But if you keep that card for a year, you've had every single payment on time, you don't really carry a balance, that's actually going to improve your score more than it's going to hit on that first initial application. So yes, it could impact your credit score, but that's up to you as your own personal finance manager to make sure that you're using appropriate credit card or having appropriate credit card use. Our credit score in the past 4 years has actually gone up. To give you the best kind of story I can is that Emily and I have applied for many credit cards, and then actually a month later we went and refied our house and everything was fine. We had credit card applications on our account and no one batted an eye. It was just our credit score was totally fine and actually went up over this credit card usage, and we were able to actually now refi twice. We refied twice while using these credit card applications. So as long as you are an intelligent or intelligently using your finances, not a big deal. How many cards can I have? Well, that's up to you. I have some blogger friends that have 20 to 25 credit cards at a time. I have some blogger friends that just have 5 at a time. That really is up to you and your comfort level. I personally have had up to like 13 or 14 at a time, and then I get a little uncomfortable maybe sometimes, and I cut it down. But that is up to you. Just to give you a real world example, there are people with 25 credit cards right now, and they are just fine. Again, it's all up to you. How many can you apply for? It's getting it's getting a little more strict because I think more people are doing this now or realizing the benefits of what they can do with this. But in general, I mean, if you apply for 1 or 2 credit cards every 3 or 4 months, it's totally fine. No one's going to have an issue with you. I think some of my friends on online communities were applying for 6 or 7 cards every 3 months, and then they ran into a little bit of an issue when some credit card companies said, hey, you have a little bit too much. I think you need to calm down just a little bit here. And then one of our last questions we get all the time is that, should I cancel or keep the card? When should I cancel the card? Now, if you sign up for these cards, I would recommend you keep this card open at least for 11 months. Right? Do not open it, put the spending, get the points, and then cancel it immediately, because you're gonna make them angry. All right? You don't want to do that. You want to keep it for 11 months. That annual fee will come up, and then you can decide: do you really like that card? Should you keep it? Or maybe really you just wanted it for the sign-up bonus. You got it, and you're like, I'm never going to use this card again. And then you cancel it. So you kept it for a year, you did your job, and then you got rid of it. But one thing I would offer, if you want to write this down, many credit card companies do not want to lose you as customers, and that is a key point. You can call in and tell them, I'm interested in canceling my card. Or maybe I'm not sure if I want to keep the card. And what they don't ever tell you is that they have pre-programmed retention offers for you. They want you to keep the card no matter what, and sometimes they just say, you know what, we're going to waive the annual fee. And you go, great, I'm going to keep the card again for a year. We actually just called one of our Citi cards 2 days ago, and they basically offered us a bonus of 35,000 points. Well, that's a $350 offer. So for us to spend $95 to keep the card, they basically offered us $350 in points. Well, that's a no-brainer. Of course we're going to keep that card, and we just kind of made up, $200 and something just to keep the card. So great deal. So really, if you're going to cancel it, call in first. You'd be surprised what people are going to offer you just to make sure you keep that card.
Just one thing I want to reiterate is Rick, I can't take credit. Rick is really smart about managing our credit cards. He pays off the balances. He makes sure we're charged interest, and so that's why this has all ended up being very positive for us. Why we've had, you know, positive impact to our credit, you know, positive applications for cards. You know, if you are carrying a balance and racking up a lot of debt, it may not be as successful, but if you get into good habits managing your credit cards, it can be really successful for you. Something that I thought would be really helpful is, you know, okay, so this is great. We've talked about all these cards and you get all these points, but like, how do we actually put the points to use? We had done a few blog posts a few summers ago, kind of breaking things down about how we use these sort of pots of points and miles and actually turn them into a trip. So I have a couple of examples that we're going to share with you just quickly and see how we've done it in the past.
So, not this past summer, but the summer before, we went to Istanbul. Well, how did we get there? Well, if you look at the top, we had to fly to San Francisco to get there to get our flight to Istanbul. So, $46.10, but of course, as you know, we fly 2 for 1 with that companion pass, so it did not cost us a lot of money to get to San Francisco. But then on the second bullet point, you can see it was 25,000 miles per person from San Francisco to Istanbul. Well, we used, if you remember earlier with all the airline credit cards, we used the Lufthansa credit card. So Lufthansa is partnered with United, and it's a German company, and they offered 50,000 miles to sign up. Well, so we signed up, put the spending on the card, and those 50,000 miles were enough for 2 people to get from San Francisco to Istanbul. We just paid the taxes, and now we're in Istanbul. We stayed 4 nights there. Well, we went to hotels.com. We found a great deal on a hotel, but like we said, with those travel reimbursement cards, we used our venture card, and we used 29,000 points to completely write off those 4 nights in Istanbul. So we got to Istanbul real quick on Southwest for 46 bucks, used our miles to get to Istanbul from San Francisco, paid a little bit of taxes, and then stayed 4 nights in a hotel using our venture card points, and we are halfway across the world for barely spending anything. Same thing. I'm just gonna, a different example. We're going back to Bali this Thanksgiving. It's our favorite place in the world. So in 3 weeks we're leaving. We're really excited, and we're flying from LAX to Denpasar, which is on the island of Bali. And I found a flight really early for $640 each round trip. Well, as you've probably learned by now, we are never paying straight up cash for those flights. So we purchased those flights with points. I used 53,000 points of my Citi Prestige card, another credit card that I've signed up for and got bonus. And then Emily used 64,000 points of her Barclay Arrival card. So by using those points right there, we were able to, you know, basically write off $640 tickets. So we're going to Bali basically for free this Thanksgiving, and then we're staying in our favorite Airbnb. It's kind of our host family there that we met last year. Well, Airbnb counts as a travel expense, so we used 24,000 points on our venture card, and we are now staying 7 nights in Bali. So there you go. 2 free flights, free Airbnb, and now all we have to pay for on this Thanksgiving trip is all the delicious food that we are going to eat.
All the food, yes. So we just wanted to share a few travel tips with you guys about things that work really well for us that we really enjoy. The first thing is Airbnb. Airbnb, if you have not heard of it before, is basically a social network for vacation rentals. People have a profile on there. You provide reviews for hosts and also for guests. So you stay and you say this host was great, or they rate you and say this guest, you know, trashed my place. Hopefully not. But you basically, it's a social network, right? Providing reviews for each other. We have used it literally all over the world. Like Rick said, in Bali, we've used it in Europe. We've used it in the States. It's really great. We have never had a bad experience. We really, really enjoy it. You can choose your preferences when you're booking, cost, location, and the type of accommodation that you would like. Anything from a whole house to a private bedroom to a shared room, whatever meets your needs and your budget, I guess I would say. If you would like a $35 credit towards your first day on Airbnb, if it's a new thing for you, you've never done it before, you can email us. We have coupon codes that work for Airbnb, and you get $35 off on your very first day. So I'll put our email up at the end, and you're welcome to contact us if you would like that. Just let us know. Just a few of the very cool Airbnbs that we've been able to stay at. Over the summer, we stayed in a very literal treehouse in Costa Rica. That's the two photos on the top. It's one of the top most desirable Airbnb locations that Rick was able to find. The first Airbnb that we actually ever stayed at was in Paris. So you can see our flat there on the bottom, just a little studio apartment that had a wonderful view of the Eiffel Tower, close to a metro stop. It was perfect, just like living like a local. And then the bottom right-hand picture is our Airbnb that we stay at in Bali, basically the host family that Rick was talking about a little bit.
So, travel related thing, I personally use Google Flights. Google is pretty much modernizing everything and making everything easier in our lives. They have Google Flights. I would really advise you to check this out because it searches everywhere. It does every search engine, whether it's Travelocity, Expedia, HotWatt, I mean, you name it. I don't even know how many are out there now. Google Flights will search every one of those, and it will search the actual airline companies. It has a very easy to use map and a very easy to use calendar where you can see how much that flight would cost every single day, and it gives you advice of when you should book. It can tell you easily if you change your flight by 1 day, this will save you $156. And now they have travel alerts where they can tell you the price is going to go up tomorrow. I really advise you to book today. So it's going to predict the future of what your flight prices are going to do. Check out Google Flights. It's something that I personally use for everything now, and it really could easily help everybody out to just make this process a little simpler and a little easier.
A great example that I have of that is I was looking for flights to the UK in April and was searching just sort of conventionally using an incognito window, and Rick was able to find flights for 1/3 of the cost on Google Flights. It was really, really great. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Next up, we're going to talk about using an incognito window. Airline companies track your search history. This can lead to inflated prices that only you will see. Rick and I have done sort of tandem searching for flights. I've done incognito. He's been regular, and he will see a higher price because they have tracked his search history. When you are in a browser, you will go up and go to a new incognito window. When you click on that, you'll see it's different. You've gone incognito. It does not store your browser history or your search history, so that is advantageous when you're searching for a flight, to go ahead and use an incognito window so the airlines are not tracking you. We always suggest booking early. You know, our friends and family know that we are booked generally a year in advance. When booking with points, punctuality is key. Only a certain number of seats on the plane are award travel flights, and they get snatched up really fast. You can typically book about 11 months in advance, 330 days. And our biggest thing is that travel is only expensive when it is most convenient to you. If you're really specific with when you need to be traveling or when you want to be traveling, it's going to be more expensive for you, right? If you have flexible dates and plans, you'll save money. We were looking at some flights to Bali, and they were cheaper than us trying to go and visit Syracuse, New York, because we had really specific ideas of dates and times that we wanted to be in Syracuse, and it was almost double the cost. Like, it's crazy that it would cost us 2 times as much to go to Syracuse than it would to go to Indonesia. The last thing I want to share is an app for your phone. It's called the Hopper app. You can see some screenshots here. I just made up a trip that I was looking at to go from Los Angeles to Reykjavik. You put your dates in on Hopper. It shows kind of which days are advantageous for you to fly and what the prices will be, and then you can have it watch your trip. Right now, the lowest available price for me was $467 one way. I should wait for a better price, but book before November 20th. If I watch the trip, Hopper will notify me and say, hey, the prices are the lowest they're going to be. You need to book now. Similar to what Rick was talking about with Google Flights, but just there on my phone. If you want more help or you want the Airbnb code, you can email us. This is our email here, readventurestravel@gmail.com. Go ahead and send us an email there, and I can invite you on Airbnb to make sure that you get that Airbnb credit. If you're interested in finding out more about our travel and the things that we do have a blog that you can check out there, and I also am on Instagram at efetcho, F-E-T-C-H-O, and we're on Facebook too. So this is a point where I know you've been chomping at the bit, wanting to ask all of your questions. We're going to go ahead and open it up for questions now.
Okay, I'm going to actually ask this last one first. So Hopper versus Google for watching flights. Which is better? Are they the same?
It's the same. Google has basically used Hopper's technology in their own programming now. So it's going to be, with everything app-wise, it's all personal preference. So it's going to give you the same benefits, just whatever you're more comfortable using.
Okay. Can you only do the Incognito window in Chrome, or Rick?
No, you can do that on any browser.
Okay. And then can you show one more time how to get to it in Chrome?
No problem. So in Chrome, it's up here under File, and it's New Incognito Window.
Okay. Great.
Shift Apple, and if that is how you function too.
Great.
Keystroke.
Can you discuss, does canceling credit cards affect your credit score?
Does canceling a credit card affect your credit score?
Credit score. Maybe after the first year.
It will, like your credit score is, based off of 5 different components. There's different things like age of credit history, on-time payments, amount of application you've had. So just so you know, if your credit score is like out of 100%, only 10% of your credit score is the age of your credit history, and 10% is the amount of applications you have. So 80% of your credit score is just, are you making your on-time payments, and do you not have a lot of debt on your credit cards? So yes, opening and closing cards do have an impact, but it's so minimal, and it's only 20% of your score, where when you open a card and make your on-time payments and you keep that good credit history, it actually improves your score more than opening and closing a card would hurt your score. I hope that helps.
Okay, good. This question came in around the time when you were talking about the Capital One card and the Barclaycard. And the question is, how are these cards that much different than any other card that just gives you cash back for your points?
Well, the cards that give you cash back for your points, it's the only thing that's different is that you get the cash back to do whatever you want with, and these cards are just redeemed towards travel. Most cards that I've seen that give you cash back won't give you 2 points per dollar. The only one that I can think of is there's like the Citi double cash card that will give you 2% cash back, and that's just cash into your pocket. Most cashback cards I see are usually maybe around 1 or 1.5%. So these travel cards will earn you a solid 2% cash back, and then you could redeem it towards certain travel expenses. And that's the only benefit I see, is that you get the extra 2% cash back consistently.
Okay. Do you ever have to pay extra, or do you ever have problems in using miles from one credit card for both of you when it's 2 separate names, 2 separate people, like on the tickets?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Never.
Okay. What do you know about Avios points and the American Express Platinum card?
So Avios points are through, obviously, the British Airways credit card. And that's just like, we didn't go into it too much because that's a whole nother system in itself, where you're basically using points based on the distance of travel. So I personally have many Avios points because they're great to use for short flights throughout Europe. So I always keep a stash just for traveling between European major cities, and that's just up to you whether you want those kind of points. If you have any specific questions, I mean, you can always email us, because it's a more of a complex answer. And with American Express points, it's kind of the same idea where you're going to earn MX points, and you can transfer those points to their travel partners. So MX partners with Delta, American Express parts with a lot of different airlines. American, not United. Like, you cannot use your American Express points and turn it into United miles. And you just transfer them. I mean, American Express has an option where, hey, where do you want to transfer your points to? And you choose if it wants to be SPG, Marriott, Hilton. I think Polish Airlines, Aeroflot's on there. I think all Italian and Italian Airlines on there if you want to transfer it to them. So that's how those points work, and you choose where you want to redeem them eventually.
So it just kind of maybe depends on where you want to do your travel, like what if you should have those, like gather those points up or not. So.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that just have those American Express points, and the only thing you're restricted into is who they partner with. But there's always an airline or a hotel company that they're partnered with where you can just send those points to, and you just want to make sure you redeem your points travel on those airlines or hotel stays.
Okay. We're trying to fly to Europe with all of our kids and a baby. Any tips on getting cheaper tickets for children by any chance?
Lap children, I believe you are not charged for because they're lap children. They're not taking up a seat. We just encountered this with some of our family friends who are going to be traveling with kids, and unfortunately, once kids are big enough, you've got to buy tickets for them, right?
This is a great question because I would actually like to be an expert, but because we don't have kids. But our family friends were saying they booked 5 tickets, 2 adults, 2 kids that are 9, and a kid that's 6. And they were saying that because you have to put the ages in, that the tickets for those kids were cheaper than the adults automatically. And I hate that I'm not giving you 100% of correct answer there, but I am probably going to go Google search this tonight because they said automatically the kids were cheaper than the adult fare. So that's really interesting to actually look at.
They're another Google Flights success story. They found they weren't going to do this trip and then found really great flights by searching on Google Flights, at the last minute kind of thing. So
round trip Houston to London, what was it, like $600?
Yeah.
$640 round trip Houston to London.
In July,
peak travel season. That's just unheard of. So
yeah, it's good. One of the people in attendance tonight says our baby is free until she's 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's 2 questions about the Southwest. Southwest Companion Card. Is there an advantage to when during the year you qualify for the card? Do you get the benefits for the remainder of that year or for the remainder of that year plus the next year?
Great question. You get the benefits for the remainder of that year and the year after. So I very conveniently had us get the Companion Pass in January of 2014. So we had the Companion Pass for all of 2014, but then technically it didn't even arrive to us till 2015. So by getting it very early in the year, we basically had it for a 23-month time period. So it would be very bad to get it in December because that would be really only 12 months you get it. I hope that answers your question right there.
Yep, that's awesome. And here's one very similar or related to the Southwest. Did you have to sign up for both the regular Southwest and the business card in order to reach the 110,000 points? And then along with that, is it difficult to prove that you're a business status?
So for us, that's one way we did it. There's a lot of other people that spend a lot of money and they were able to spend on the Southwest card a lot until they got it. And there's another place where all these companies, not to throw more at your way, but they have shopping portals where you can go on to, Southwest Shopping. If you Google search Southwest Shopping, you'll be directed towards a portal, and anything you buy online will also earn you Southwest points. So maybe, I'm trying to think of a random thing that we've done.
Maybe you're going to buy a couch or a refrigerator or something large.
Yeah, we did one for Home Depot where we earned 8 Southwest points for every dollar at Home Depot, but we had to purchase a big thing. So we ended up earning 10 or 12,000 Southwest points just from buying our refrigerator or something. And those count towards the Companion Pass. So there's a lot of other strategies besides just signing up for both cards. You'd be surprised how easy it is to get a business credit card. We've had a couple. When I say a couple, probably many.
Yeah.
And they haven't asked any questions. They haven't blinked an eye. We've been automatically approved. I mean, I think there's some credit cards for some really wealthy people that have annual fees of $500 or $600 that, yes, those cards are going to ask some questions. But honestly, all these regular business cards, it's just not even a bat of an eye. We just got both cards instantly.
Everybody in this day and age is an independent contractor. So everybody's a freelancer for something.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another. This is from Jacqueline, and she says, "Hi guys." So I think she
Hi.
must know you guys. Do you use joint accounts for your credit cards to rack up the spending miles, or are they all in separate names?
All separate names because we want to make sure we're both eligible for that sign-up bonus. If we do a joint account, then it becomes more difficult for the other person then to get their own individual credit card to get that sign-up bonus.
Okay, good. Which recurring expenses do you guys suggest putting on credit cards? That's just another strategy, right?
Yeah. So some of you may be familiar with the Chase Freedom Card. They offer 5% cash back on a variety of categories throughout the year. And so we strategize. There's a certain time of the year where gas is 5 points per dollar. And so we make sure that we're always buying gas on our Freedom at that point. Or Costco is now a partner with Visa. And so whenever we go to Costco, I use the Freedom because I get 5 points per dollar. So we're paying attention to where we're going to get the most rewards. Generally, we use like the Venture Card or the Arrival Card as our everyday spending because we're getting those 2 points per dollar on every purchase.
What about like your electric bill or your gas bill, like recurring expenses like that?
I think that depends on where you are. Like some of those bills we actually can't put on credit card. We have to direct from debit. But one thing I do is I have a Chase card. It's called the Chase Inc. Business. And the Inc. card, what we do is we put our cable bill and we put our cell phone bill and our Netflix bill on there because we earn 5 points per dollar, on related expenses that relate to like Netflix, cell phones, and cable. I forgot how they worded it. Telecommunications or something.
Business expense.
So we keep that card just so we can always put that, a couple $100 a month on there for those expenses, and we earn 5 points per dollar.
Okay. This might be just a really hard question to answer because I think it's got a lot of options. What is the best way to use 700,000 American Express points?
Transfer them to me? No. No.
Like you could take a whole trip though, right?
Yeah. I mean, that is like I said, I think when someone asked that earlier, you log into your account and you got to find out who those travel partners are. So where can you transfer those points to? And I know for a fact you'll be able to transfer them to Alaskan Airlines, which can fly anywhere in the world internationally, or you can transfer it to an American Airlines. So I think you just figure out taking those 700,000 points, and you can choose to you can transfer 40,000, you can transfer 500,000, as many as you want at one time, and you can just send it to your frequent flyer account of the travel partner American Express will let you use. I've personally done it with American in the past, and I've transferred those points. I've also personally done it with the British Airways Avios, where I've taken a lot of those Amex points and just sent it to my British Airways account because I needed it to fly between cities in Europe. And that's just what I needed it for at the time.
And obviously we really enjoy this stuff. So if you have 700,000 points and you're totally lost and you want some help, send us an email. We're here to answer questions, give you ideas. We detailed 2 of our trips there, but we can help you figure out what you want to do.
That sort of piggybacks onto this. Is there a service we could use to help her figure this out, or do you guys offer travel planning services? Absolutely, right?
Yes. If you need help, get in touch.
Yeah. It's not that we've done this long enough now, or I've immersed myself in this for so long. It's not even that hard to give advice. It's actually pretty easy to help out. So
Auntie really enjoys it.
Do the points or miles ever expire?
The points generally do expire after 18 months of not being used. The trick to that is if you use your credit card, if you haven't touched it in 17 months and you use that credit card and earn points, you've reset that 18-month clock. So just make sure it doesn't go a year and a half of you forgetting about it, because there is, in the small print, there is some things where they can take those points away from you.
Do you know, is there a specific time of the year when the 50,000 point sign up offers are generally out there?
They usually rotate it on a monthly basis. So it's something to do with drawing up demand. Like holiday season, they'll always push the high bonuses because people are looking to shop. People are just, I think, more in tune to that. So I think you just got to be on the lookout, or even just, you just do your Google search or have the link ready and just check out what they're offering because I'd say about half the year you can find those high sign-up bonuses, and the other half they just don't have it for some reason. I don't know why.
Have you ever noticed that when you are booking your one-way flights with miles, that it ever costs you the equivalent of round-trip miles? One of the girls has a question about that. She says she has that problem.
The only thing that I've seen is that sometimes some flights, one way, there's certain flights that are eligible for the cheap miles, and there's other flights where they're actually charging you more. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like you find this like really perfect straight flight somewhere, and they're actually going to charge you the full amount for that one way because they can get people to use it. Mm-hmm. But I think you just got to try to find and make sure that you find the right one. Yeah. I feel like I'm being a little vague in that answer, and I feel like I'm not explaining the best. But
I think if you're flexible with your travel, right, that would also help because you can go to the one that's a little bit cheaper instead of that one that might be more direct and perfect for you, but it's going to cost you more miles.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a point in time where you just decide to pay for the flight instead of using your points and then saving your points for a more expensive flight? And then if so, what kind of a guideline do you use?
I mean, the easiest guideline is if I look for a flight to go somewhere, I'll search it using points, but then I'll also search it using dollars. And if I find that, man, like the Bali trip that we talked about, I mean, that was only $650 round trip. Mm-hmm. I found that was not worth using points or like using airline miles. So I just booked it with a credit card and I redeemed those points for it. There's a couple flights every now and then. I think we flew to Chicago one time and it was like $100 one way, and I was like, I'm not going to use 12,000 points for $100. That's just not worth it. So I think we just ended up paying $100 for it. Was insignificant. Yeah. But anything that's big international, I don't know that we've ever paid straight cash.
Well, and then pay for that $100 flight with the American or the Barclaycard or the Capital One. So maybe you can write off that points if you want to for that too.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So once you use your sign up bonus miles and end up back to a low amount of, never mind. Wait, that's not the right one. Do you have an experience with Qatar Air? We have a lot of miles and have used them on a round trip to Doha, but am wondering how to use the miles on American. When I try to redeem, I'm allowed to request a ticket without confirmation.
Request a ticket without confirmation.
Yeah, have you ever heard of that?
I wonder if it's one of those things where you just need to call.
Yes.
There are oftentimes times where we're trying to book on a partner airline, and it just makes sense. It's easier to just call the airline and book it over the phone.
Like with Alaska Airlines, if you're going to redeem on their partners, they won't even allow you to do it on their website. You just have to call. And sometimes they will try to charge you if you book online, but I always tell them, like, your website does not allow me to book on a partner airline, so they always waive that fee. So I think that's very important. Make sure they waive that booking fee for having to call someone, but just call. Every single time we've had to do it, it's been seamless, and they know exactly what they're doing.
And you're able to be really specific. I want this flight number, that kind of thing, and they can get there a lot more quickly if you have all that information.
Good question.
One of the women here would like to know if you follow the Points Guy, his blog. Just curious.
Can I tell this story?
Yeah, you can.
Can I tell this story?
Go for it.
I will start with there's positives and negatives here. I don't want to get too on a rant.
This is personal.
This is personal to us. So the Points Guy was great. I used him as a resource probably for my first 2 years. I think it's an awesome resource if you're getting into this and you're really wanting to understand. Where I don't like him anymore.
And he has an online website that kind of discusses
the Points Guy.
Right?
Yeah, and he's on all social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, all of it.
Okay.
So the points guy 2 years ago was offering, he needed extra help to run his website, and people were applying, and we both applied to work for him, because you can work from home, you can write some of these articles, you can just be, we feel like we're generally knowledgeable, actually pretty knowledgeable on this stuff, so we thought we'd be a great fit. So part of the application was you had to write up 3 posts that you think would be great for the website. Well, we both wrote up some really great posts. I had some really great ideas to help the website, and we didn't hear anything back. Well, the next week, guess what 3 posts showed up on his website? My posts, the ones that I created, and at that point, we were sitting actually in Istanbul, and we officially broke up with him because I could not take the infringement on my rights right there. And after we saw that, we just kind of gave up on him and moved on to different networks. Sorry for the rant, but we take it personally.
That being said, he's a great resource if you're starting out, and he's got a lot of good information. I used his site last night, to check some things. So.
And Kristen, our dear friend, would like to know what is the best way to keep track of all of the cards and the points in order to stay organized.
Good question, Monica, Veronica.
All right. So there is a website called awardwallet.com. So just like an award, and then just like the word wallet, put them together, awardwallet.com. And if you sign up there, the program is, it's a free service. There is an option where you can pay for bonuses, but you don't need it. And awardwallet.com, you can put in all of your frequent flyer numbers for hotels, airlines, travel reimbursement cards, anything where you keep points. I have that updated, and it sends me weekly updates of where I'm at with my accounts. I hope that helps, Kristen.
Yep. Does the point guy charge to help use points?
Most of those websites will have a service where they will charge you to book the flights for you. So they will call the airline company ahead of time, and they will basically set up a reservation for you, keep it on hold, and then you call into the airline company, you give them the reservation number, and then you give them the points that you want to use. So yes, every one of those websites can do that for you if you would like.
And do you charge if to help somebody use their points?
I mean, sure. I mean, I've personally never done it for someone else. I'm not necessarily in this for like a for-profit industry here. But I think that would just deal with, I mean, if it's a quick, easy thing, we have no problem. But I mean, obviously, if it would take like an hour or something to kind of put that together, maybe we could come up to a very simple system of how to help you. But
yeah,
I can promise you that we would not charge you what those websites would, because I think it's like $75 or $115 to do it for you.
This is the woman who had those 700,000 points who asked.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
yeah, I mean, reach out to us and we could easily help you on that.
Okay, so here's maybe the question of the night. Do you have an opinion on the absolute best travel card out there, regardless of yearly fee?
Yes, it is the new Chase Sapphire Reserve card. It actually just came out last month, and this has blown away the competition. So I'll say it again. It's the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. The sign-up bonus is 100,000 points. The annual fee is $450 a year, but there's a lot of little things in there that can help you offset that. They'll give you $300 cash back per year for airline fees or expenses. You can get your global entry or known traveler number and interview for free. They'll reimburse you. That's $100. And there's so many great things about getting 3 points per dollar or 2 points per dollar at many different locations. And you get free access to thousands of airline lounges. I can talk with this card for a while, and I am getting it in 2 weeks, but that is the best card out there currently at the moment.
And so you think preferable to the Amex Platinum
It's basically that's Chase's competition to the Amex Platinum. It's just that the Chase one has the best benefits right now.
Okay. Um, all right, and then this person kind of really. Oh, what benefits are better? Would you say on that one?
The Chase Sapphire one
Yeah, the Chase versus the Amex.
versus the Amex. Well, I've had both. Well, I mean, I'm going to have the Chase one. I've had the Amex Platinum. The Amex Platinum was nice because you had access to their lounges, which was really great, and you have access to priority seats. Or I mean, we've booked Hamilton tickets with the Chase Platinum card. But just I mean with the Amex Platinum card. But the Chase one, I think just that you get 3 points per dollar on any travel expense. So if you need to use Uber, you need to do anything travel related, they're going to give you 3 points per dollar. I think like dining and gas, you can get 2 points per dollar on everything. And then I think this deal that they have, it's a group called Priority Pass, and it's something that saved us many of times. But almost every airport in the world has a lounge that's partnered with this group called Priority Pass, and you get a free membership to this group with this Chase card. And like we're in a random airport in the middle of Chile, and there's a lounge for us. We're in the middle of Europe somewhere, some small airport. There's a lounge for us.
We're in the jungle in Peru. There's
a lounge for us. So there's just these airline lounges where you just get out of the chaos. There's free drinks, free alcohol, free food, a shower, and it's Wi-Fi. It's just I love Priority Pass so much.
Stephanie asks, she says that reserve is 3-1 for travel, but Amex Platinum then went to 5-1 for travel.
5-1 on travel right now.
Yeah, and then how do you decide where to book flights?
Where, like, what do you mean where to book flights?
Probably which airline.
It doesn't really say. Or between these two, between the two cards.
Oh, I don't know. Some people get really loyal towards a brand. Mm-hmm. And we're just not. Sometimes we use American points because remember we said off-peak time. We can find some really cheap flights on American for when it's not peak travel. So we tend to travel in the winter on American, and I feel like we've just naturally tended to travel in the summer on United. Mm-hmm. And it's whatever. I mean, if you really like United, go for it, or American. I don't think we really have a stronger answer to that.
No.
And here's just an FYI. Jennifer says that Amex Platinum has Priority Pass too.
Oh, they do have access to that now? That's good.
That's good. Susan Wright, she has the Chase card. You mentioned fee reimbursement and something about the reimbursement for the Priority Pass. How does that work?
I think what you're thinking about is the global entry. Mm-hmm. Maybe?
Yeah, for the global entry thing.
So global entry is basically priority entrance back into the country through customs and immigration, and you get a known traveler number, and you scan your fingerprints when you come in. So you save time when you're coming back into the United States through immigration. You also get a TSA pre-check number as a part of that, and so we have pre-check anytime we travel domestically, and then whenever we're returning to the country, we have priority immigration. We've come back through at JFK at different times, once without global entry and waited probably an hour and a half, and then also I've done it with global entry and it's taken 15 minutes. So that's a really great deal if you can get that $100 covered.
So yeah, that Amex thing versus the Chase, it's just up to you. I mean, I think that the sign-up bonus for the Chase is just kind of unheard of right now because it's 100,000. I've seen some 100,000s for the Platinum. I actually found one a year ago for 150,000 for a sign-up bonus for the Platinum, which is why I got it and I paid the fee. And I think the Amex Platinum has a $200 fee credit, and right now Chase offers $300, so that's just your annual fee is just gonna be a little bit less. But I think they both offer pre-check, they both offer multiple points for certain rewards. I like the travel partners that Chase offers more than Amex, but that's just for me personally. Some people really like the Amex travel partners, so that's going to be kind of up to you. I think it was Jennifer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you allow them to have a copy of your slides? Like a few people have asked about the the listening to the video, and I've told them that we'll send them a link to the YouTube.
Yep.
So would you send a copy of the slides to somebody?
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. Send me an email. Our email's on the screen.
Okay.
The MX Platinum's only 40,000 right now. Interesting. Really low.
Let's see. Here's another. The Presidential Plus Chase card is also about $500 and has similar benefits.
Can you still apply for that, though? I thought that was restricted. I thought that was only if you owned it previously that you were grandfathered into it.
Let's see. She loves. Oh, she hasn't heard that about the being grandfathered in. Stephanie writes she loves the tips on Award Wallet, the Hopper app, Google Flights, and the Incognito window. She usually just went computer to computer. Thank you, she says.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are game changers for sure.
How easy is it for you guys to book a flight for two people using two different cards, getting the same price and sitting together?
Pretty easy.
Yeah, like I think about our flights to Bali. We booked those separately, actually even on different websites, and it was no problem. Once you know which flight you want and which card you want to book it on, there will be seats.
Yeah, it's been pretty easy. I mean, we've booked. I mean, we will sit here with both our computers open and basically book the flights at the exact same time and then choose our seats. So since we're basically booking within a second of each other, the seat map's the same, and there's like maybe a couple flights we've never sat next to each other, but
yeah, and
most of the time we have.
There's been some times with award travel where maybe we're doing like a multi-leg flight. This happened coming back from Asia, where like we were on the first leg of the flight together, but then Rick had an earlier flight than me, and that's just how it worked out with the award travel. There were only so many seats open, and we would just follow up with the airlines, every few months or so in advance of that trip, just saying like, okay, has anything opened up so we can travel together? It did not end up that way. I even tried to stand by, but we couldn't get on the same flights, and it's just, that for us wasn't a big deal. We did half the trip together, and then I said goodbye to him in Hong Kong, and I'll see you in LA. And then that was fine.
And then have you calculated how much you have to travel to make an annual credit card fee worth it?
Are we talking about like a low annual credit card fee? Like, because a venture card, right, is $59 a year.
Right.
So.
And we just called.
And I just called them this week and I said, I don't know if I want to keep it. And they said, that's fine. We'll waive it for you. So, I mean, I don't have to do any traveling with them to make free worth it. Those like a $450 yearly fee, like for the United Club card, for example, they have a $450 membership fee. We've kept it because we like the benefits.
And they give us $200 off.
Yeah, and they gave us a retention offer of $200 off for that. So it wasn't the whole annual fee. It was part of it. We also like the club benefits with that. And so if it's something we're going to utilize, we do have a conversation about if we think it's worth it or not.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'm going to tap onto this that I've noticed too, when I decide about that second year, right? The first year was free. The second year I'm going to have to pay. Well, if I've used those miles and gotten an airplane trip out of it, the $95 for my round trip flight to California or Seattle or something that was expensive is well worth that $95 that I would pay for the fee. So even if it's not the first year free, I think when the fees are cheap. So,
yep.
Do you ever think that a travel agent is worth using? This woman writes she tries to do almost all of her travel planning herself. Do you think there's any place where the travel agent would be more helpful than doing it yourself?
This is my personal experience where I've seen, I have a travel agent, obviously I'm thinking about a friend or two, but like when people that travel in big groups, I think the travel agent is useful if you're going to be in a large group of people because they can get you a discount based on the sheer number of people that you're able to bring. Those travel buses of 20 or 40 people going together, I can see that working. I just think maybe it's just the new thing, the new generation, or just things are changing. I think everybody does things so independently now
Yeah.
that some of those old traditional services are just becoming irrelevant. But that's my personal thing, and I'm comfortable doing this. I think.
Yeah, we've asked a travel agent a question or two here and there, but we ended up either knowing more about the answer or finding it out ourselves. It was primarily when we first started booking train tickets in Europe, and we had never done that before. So we asked just for some help in how that works, and then ended up doing it ourselves once we had an idea of, when we could start buying those tickets.
Yeah.
That was
Well, I tell everybody that Rick is the master at all of this, at figuring out all this travel stuff, but he also spends the time, and I think that that's the other thing for people to pay attention to is, if you only have 5 minutes on the computer, you may not get all your answers. You might have to spend a little bit more time than that to do it.
Shamelessly say that there have probably been days where I've spent 6-7 hours one time. Like Emily has gone somewhere and come back like 6 hours later, and I'm in the exact same spot because I got stuck in some research.
Yeah,
he won't have moved from the table in front of his computer. I'll have left, and it'll be 6 hours later. But there will be a trip planned, which is great for me.
This woman named Kelly writes that in February, a travel agent saved her with a huge hookup. So she was trying to go Detroit to Paris. The flights were going to be $1,500 because it was very last minute, around 10 days in advance. The travel agent was able to do direct flights, including 4 nights at a super luxury hotel at an amazing location for the same amount. So maybe that's the kind of case where the travel agent can really help you out.
Yeah.
Just because they probably have their connections or just have, absolutely.
The hotel.
They can loop it.
So if nobody else has any questions, I've been answering these last bunch as they've been coming in. Here's one more. Machu Picchu took a long time to research and arrange the train's admission to the Machu Picchu Park, etc. It's just kind of the comment that Joan is sending in here.
It did. It was very stressful and very difficult to figure out sometimes for me.
Yeah, they did that this summer. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can tell. I know a lot about what Rick and Emily do. Emily is my daughter. Rick's my son-in-law. Any other questions, anybody? If not, we'll go ahead and sign out for tonight. Thank you very, very much for joining us. We really appreciate it that you've taken the time, and I know we've gone a little bit over our hour. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback that we'll give to Emily and Rick as well. When we end the webinar, there's going to be a couple of questions that will come up onto your screen if you don't mind taking the time to quickly answer them for us. Kappa appreciates your comments and any ideas that you have for future topics, and we'll kind of go from there. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.